Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another day of May I Scraplift You. Today we are scraplifting Lou_crafts, and I love this layout with those triangle mountains, but triangles are my nemesis. So, I decided to give it a try, and you'll see me struggle just a little bit with trying to get the placement right and the angles right. But all in all, I do really love how this layout turns out. It's a lot of fun, and this video is a little bit long because it did take me a while to get everything just where I wanted it. And so I do end up cutting this old brown paper from Simple Stories. It's a partially wood grain. The other papers, I'm not really sure. The journaling paper is from Amy Tangerine, one of her really old collections. And this brown paper is from Bo Bunny. But the green one, I'm not really sure where that's from. It does not have a branding strip on it, so I cannot tell you. I have two photos here of my grandson. One of them, he is climbing on it looks like stumps, but they're wooden. They're like these wooden squares that are at different levels, and he's trying to climb up to the top. And then the other is like a man-made tree trunk that's huge. It's ginormous, really. You can go underneath it. You can see an opening there, and then you can also go up in the top of it, and there's like a place you can like hang out inside and run around in a circle or whatever. And then it's him and my daughter looking out over the top. And so the title of my layout is going to be King of the Mountain. And so that is why I thought this was the perfect layout to have those mountains just like what is in the inspiration piece. Now I am going to change a couple things because I only have two photos versus the three that are, front and center in that inspiration piece. And my title is going to be different as well. So I play around with the placement here, trying to figure out the best way to balance it, because the colors, you need a little bit of each color on each side, and then getting the height right so it didn't look like it was too planned. It looked more natural. Was a little bit of a challenge for me. So it does take me quite a bit of time. What I did was once I got them all cut, I inked them with walnut stain, which is my favorite brown color to ink in. I know a lot of people prefer to use vintage photo, but for me that feels a little bit too orange, and so I really like the warmth of walnut stain. And my ink pad is not super juicy, and so it doesn't go on really heavily, which is the way I prefer to use it. And so I did use the walnut stain, and then I really lightly went over the edge with black. So it kind of has that burnt paper look. When you see old paper that has been burnt, it's kind of brown, and then it gets to that black charred edge. So that is exactly what I wanted it to look like. And I wanted the black to be even less than the brown, but just so that it kind of finishes with that harsh black line. So I really like how it turns out by doing that. And again, that's because my inks are not super juicy, and I kind of keep them that way intentionally. Now I am going to go ahead and make the two strips that go across the top, just like the inspiration piece, and that's pretty much where everything kind of ends, the similarities end. I do distress the two pieces at the top, and I ink those up again just like I did the others. I really like how that looks. I also really love this background paper. It is a Simple Stories paper. I don't know the name of the collection, and I've already gotten rid of the branding strip, so I can't really look that up for you. Well, I'm sure I could find it for you, but I don't have it for you right off the top of my head. But it is from Simple Stories, and it's a beautiful paper. I wasn't sure what I would use it for when I received it, but this proved to be like the perfect layout for it. And I really like the natural colors, given that everything in the photos is like really natural looking. A lot of times I have playground photos, but they've got those bright blues and greens and yellows and reds in them, and so you don't have that same kind of feel. But this particular location everything is very natural looking, and so that's kind of fun. So I play around with having my two photos front and center, but they don't end up that way. They're going to be off to the left, and they're not going to be right across from each other. They're going to be staggered which I really like the way that that looks. And then I decide I'm going to make my own title because I've been struggling with my thickers, you know, running out of E's and A's and other letters. And so I've just been enjoying playing with dies, alpha dies. And if you are looking for an awesome alpha die set, this is the one for you. This is from Tim Holtz, and it's very reminiscent of the Fitzgerald font. At least I think that's what it looks like. And it is such an awesome one because it comes with multiples of the letters. So you can see there I have 2 N's down. I think it comes with 3 A's. So you can run a lot through your Sidekick or your Big Shot or your whatever die cutting machine you have, Evolution, Cuttlebug, whatever. You can run it through any of those die cutting machines that are out there and not have to run multiple times because it comes with multiple letters, which is really, really awesome. And I got mine at Hobby Lobby when they had Tim Holtz 40% off. So I think they ended up being maybe 13. I don't even think they were $13. I think they were like $11 for the whole set, something like that. Because I think they started out like 26 or 29. So anyway, maybe they were 26. So they might have been $13. I don't know. Anyway, it was a great deal. That's all I can tell you. Now that other font that I'm using is from Pink Fresh Studio, and I believe that is either Adore or Heather, and I want to say it's Adore. So I do have both, and they are slightly different, but I believe this is the one that is called Adore. And so I used that green, and then I am inking up the edges just because the brown on top of the brown paper needed just a little bit of oomph to it. So I needed to darken those up just a tiny bit. And I did choose to do them on white foam. I did have brown foam available, but the brown was not the right color of brown. And since the papers have white in it and then the photos also have a white border, I thought the white looked great with it. I did not have the right color of green to even think about doing green as the foam, because you know you can see that foam layer underneath the letters. And I think it's kind of fun because you can put like your aqua color foam underneath pink paper and get that same effect that you have in several of the thicker options that are out there. Now I'm going to stamp this word of the, because I want it to say King of the Mountain. I'm going to stamp it directly on my layout, but my stamp says something of the day. I can't even remember. And so you saw me wiping off the ink on the other letters. I just want the of the, but it wasn't stamping really well on my layout. I tried it 3 times there and I ended up making a mess. So I stamp it off onto a piece of that ledger paper, and then I'm going to ink it up and just put it right over the one that I stamped on the paper so you're not going to see the mess that I made. So it's a good way to cover it up is just to stamp it off onto something else and not worry about it. Cover it up. And I am going to use my T-square ruler just to line up the letters because I want my title to be straight. Now I have been enjoying making my titles a little bit wonky or off kilter, but in this case I do want this one to be straight. And I do look back and wish that I had brought it down about a ½ inch. Originally with this layout as it is right here, I thought what I would do is do my journaling onto some strips of paper and put it right underneath the title because there's that big open space there. But then as I was working on the embellishing, I realized I have that mountain at the bottom that is a ledger paper, and I can do my journaling right there. And so I didn't really need to leave as much open space underneath the title. Now I did have these tags, and I don't know where I got these, but they are brown. They're 2 different shades of brown, and they are those ones that are bordered by a piece of metal. And so I am going to use those as kind of the landing spot for each of my embellishment clusters. And I went through my green bin and my earth tone bin of ephemera and stickers and pulled out a bunch of things that I thought would work well. And so I really like those two little tags there. I am going to use those. Once I stuck the metal rim of that tag underneath my photo, I realized I needed to pop my photo up onto foam because otherwise there was a nice ridge there. And I really should not have used this foam. I should have used my thinner foam because then it was a little bit too thick, because the little tag is not that thick. So note to self, measure first. I think I do go back and add a piece of the thin foam underneath the tag area. Yep, that's what I'm doing there, just to give it a little additional support. And then I'm going to go ahead and build my embellishment cluster, and I'm going to start with those two tags. I'm going to staple them with my tiny attacher. I'm going to add a little adhesive to them. I will add some foam adhesive, the really thin foam adhesive underneath them, but I will put an additional layer of it right down the center of those tags so that they have a little bit of a wave to them, like they're thicker in the center than on the edges, which I like. It gives it a little bit of movement to the page. I pulled out some, I almost said bark, that's not bark, cork. I pulled out some cork, and I don't use cork very often, so I thought this was the perfect layout for it because we've got so many browns going on and these neutral colors or natural colors, and so I'm using the cork hearts as part of my embellishment clusters, and I really like how those look. And you will see later I will pull out some dies to make some additional smaller cork hearts because these ones that I have are really big and I don't need them to be quite as big as they are. Now that piece that is underneath the title that says sun on it, I am going to use that, but I am going to hand write in the word grand in the green right above sun, so it will say grandson because that's who he is to me. And a lot of times I leave the journaling open for my daughter to go and add journaling, but in this case I am going to add the journaling myself because it's going to be a little letter to him. And so that's why I thought it would be appropriate to use the word grandson on the layout. And there I am writing that in. I'm just using my black Muji pen. It is subtle, but it is there. And I am inking up these tickets, and I'm going to go ahead and stick those down. And I am just using some white twine in my those little tags. And you can see there I'm going to use that foam, and I will add, like I said, another little layer of foam right down the center. And it just gives a little bit of extra movement. I think that's a really fun thing to do, especially on tickets and stuff, because oftentimes, you know, if you had a ticket, it would be either folded in half or it would have been shoved in your pocket, so it wouldn't have been perfect. And then the piece that I cut off of that circle part that said grandson, I just stuck the opposite edge of it up on top of that cluster that has the tickets in it. Now this foam is foam that I got from a friend. I don't know what it's, I can't tell you the brand, I don't know anything about it. It is double-sided foam, and it's can be very difficult to get the backing off of it, especially one side of the backing is thinner or more pliable than the other side. The stiff side, it's not so hard to remove it from, but the other side, it's kind of a pain in the butt. So there I am cutting some more hearts using my heart dies and my sidekick. I did stick a little sticker underneath where it says King of the Mountain, and it just has X's and O's on it, and I believe they're in the same green color. And oftentimes on my tags and stuff, you'll see me tuck the edges in, and I like that kind of finished look rather than them kind of like flailing around out there. And so I just stuck a little bit of glue to kind of hold them in place. And I don't know what I was thinking when I put this square one down. I should have put it so that the hole was up, but I didn't. I put it so the hole was down, kind of trying to hide the hole. And then the other two I did not hide the hole. So then I had to go back and create my own hole with my with my hole punch. And um, I end up liking the way that that looks. So it works out well. And then I do end up using some little tiny cork hearts to finish things off. While I write my journaling, let me just tell you a little bit about May I Scraplift You? I've been playing along all month, and I am finishing out the month with layouts for the rest of the month. And Crystal started this over at Pineapple Papers, so you can check out her link in my description box down below. And then there are a bunch more links of people who are playing along weekly or playing along daily. You can check out all of their videos. I have a video every day. If you've missed any of them, you can go back and watch them. And we have tons and tons of inspiration. And I know that not everyone is scraplifting the same person. I happen to be scraplifting most of the same people that Crystal is, but yeah, but there are people who have chosen other people to scraplift. So go and check that out and leave a little bit of love for each of them. And hopefully you're inspired by a lot of these scrap lifts. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I know you have tons of options out there, and I really appreciate and feel honored that you chose my channel to watch today. If you have questions or comments, you can leave them in the description box down below, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. And make sure you come back again tomorrow. I will be here with another video for your enjoyment and for your inspiration. I'll see you again then. Bye-bye now.